Okay, induction. So if you do want to borrow those at home for your own revision purposes, you're welcome to do so, as long as I can get them back off you at the end.
That's a bit dodgy, especially with the
Yeah,
kids.
exactly.
They do stuff like that for school and they'll be like,
Oh, mix it all up, yeah, why not? So yeah, recruitment and selecting matching activities was a revision. This week we're just going to look at what is induction, why is it important, and what does the process actually involve.
Yeah.
So what do you know about it already? Yes, is a good starting point.
Well, you're bringing someone into the organisation that you've hired and you're showing them basically where they're going to be working
Yeah.
and points like where they're going to be checking in, if they have to check in,
Yeah.
or log into it, or in their time log or whatever, where they're going to be stationed, where the other departments are stationed,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you've been through one before?
Yeah.
Cool. How organised was it, do you think?
I've been for a couple. One was really organised, one
Yeah.
was more, wasn't so much an induction
Yeah.
as the other. Yeah, one was organised, so it's like they have a group and then whatever department you're in, the manager for that,
Yeah.
generally the one that will take you around, or the supervisor for that one, show you everything, so show you where to sign in, lockers, staff room.
Yeah. So which one did you prefer, like the more organised or the less
I
organised?
definitely prefer detailed.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Definitely organised.
And why do you think that? Why do you think that? Like, what was the impact for you? The difference between the two?
Because you're getting to know what you're going to be doing. And
Yeah.
getting to know right up front everything about
Yep.
the place you're going to be working.
Yeah.
Well, I can show you
In the
as a
day.
newbie. Yeah, as a newbie, even if it's only an hour, but
Yeah,
that's still a long time to, but you can, especially in a big sort of place where you're in many departments, just being taken through the building.
Yeah.
Is
There's a real payoff for induction, like, and in terms of, too much information overload that can
I
happen,
suppose, yeah.
versus not having enough information or
It is,
having a
yeah.
complete lack of induction process whatsoever. So we'll talk a little bit about the
I
pros
think you
and
probably
cons.
need induction and still need training as well.
Yeah, training,
As long
ongoing
as-
training.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That was my focus question. When did you start a new job? What kind of introductions? You've had quite a formal one and quite an informal, perhaps less detailed process. So you liked the more formal process?
That might be a personal thing.
Yeah, it can be, but there's also a lot of literature there to support it, you know.
Yeah.
And this is why in HR management we do say that induction is an important part of the process,
Yeah.
because actually there's a lot of support there to say that it helps with, the employee getting familiarised with the workplace, which then helps with their sense of belonging and job satisfaction and motivation, and can actually contribute to reduced turnover. So you're more likely to stay in a job where you've had an effective induction,
Yeah.
and you feel like you've got a good understanding of what's required.
Yeah.
One of the articles for this week's reading is absence of induction and its impact on the organisation. So what actually happens when we don't do induction very well?
Yeah.
People get confused, people are unsure of what's required.
Don't feel like asking questions. Sometimes I don't want to ask too many questions at once.
Yeah, exactly. It can be quite a daunting process to start a new job.
Yeah.
And I would say, depending on the complexity of the job, like a professional job will take 3 to 6 months to get fully familiarised with the requirements of a new job.
Yeah.
A more simple, less complicated job, maybe,
A few weeks.
a few weeks.
Yeah.
But there's, it's all about the expectations of the organisation in terms of how long it takes you to get up to speed,
Yeah.
and the expectations that the individual has in terms of the information that they get access to, and when that can be quite a frustrating process in and of itself. So it's sometimes called orientation,
Yeah.
sometimes called onboarding in the American literature. But it's essentially we're talking about the overall process for welcoming somebody into the organisation. And it is a part of a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is socialisation.
Yeah, definitely.
Or enculturation, like learning the new culture of the organisation that you're going to be a part of. And socialisation, it tends to be a longer term picture than just induction. Induction seems to have a sort of defined time frame.
Yeah.
And we are talking more than just day one.
Yeah.
Induction needs to start before the person starts.
Yeah.
It actually starts really when you're in the job interview in some ways, because
Yeah,
that's an exchange of information.
For people, yeah.
Yeah, you're collecting information about the organisation and the organisation's collecting information about you.
Yeah.
So that is also part of that process in its own way. And, the sort of messages that you send in terms of your organisation's responsiveness to, like in that recruitment selection process, how quickly you reply to requests or inquiries, or how long it takes to get back with an answer from the selection panel,
Yeah.
If you're sitting there waiting to find out if you've got the job for a month, it doesn't send a good impression of the organisation.
No, yeah.
So with all of that, we're building the expectations and starting to learn about how this organisation operates.
Yeah.
And so once you've offered the employment agreement, which I think we'll talk about a bit later in the course, the offer of employment, you've signed that all up. There's often a lot of paperwork that goes along, even at that stage of the process, which is also about starting that induction. So you might be sent copies of organisation code of conduct or policy and procedure, and you have to sign and say that you've read it and agree to it. You have to sign the employment agreement and say that you've read that and agree to that.
Yeah.
You have to sign the letter of offer and agree to that. So there's a whole lot of obviously documentation side of it that happens prior to the person even starting work.
Yeah.
I'll get back to that. And then it is a continuous process until that person's certain tasks have sort of been achieved or certain information passed on.
Mm-hmm.
So it can take 3 months or so to fully finish an induction.
Yeah.
What is the purpose? Obviously, we want to make sure that the people starting the new job are getting the information that they need about the organisation, about how to do the job, about what their expectations are, and all of that essentially aims to reduce their uncertainty and their anxiety and increase their motivation. And which it also say, it's going to save us time and money in the long run.
Yeah.
How is it going to save us time and money?
Because if you're not going to introduce someone, and they're going to have to try and learn all this information on their own as they're working as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're going to make mistakes and fumble.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can, the getting them up to a high productivity level quickly is the goal. So if we don't go through a proper induction process, then they're more likely to have periods where they're not productive as they're trying to find out the information they need. So there's your stages in the induction process essentially. And for this one, gosh, this is a short class.
Yeah.
We're going to be all done and dusted. So stages in the induction process, basically, before the employee joins, we're sending out that preliminary information and getting the sort of paperwork completed. And that, here we go, preparation. Might be handbooks, policies, procedures, all of that, rules, regulations. Obviously, they don't have access to your computer systems and things. So at that stage, so that's about making sure that anything that can be sent in hard copy that you can give them access to. It may be that you want them to do some induction tutorials or quizzes. A lot of organisations these days actually do their induction program online.
Oh yeah.
And so they might give you access to, you watch the tutorial, you do the quiz at the end.
Yeah.
And then you can tick that box and say that you've learnt about the privacy rules or the health and safety rules for the organisation or whatever.
Yeah.
So often, I mean, you can do that in work time as well, but an organisation will often incorporate a lot of that stuff as a computer-based induction program, essentially.
Yeah.
Because, if they've got a lot of background information before they start, then it sort of prevents this information overload that can happen on day one.
Yeah.
Day one, we want to make sure that people are shown, like you say, the environment in which they're going to be working, introduced to your colleagues, shown where the bathrooms are and the coffee cups and the important stuff, you know, and sort of some of the basic sort of culture and organisation norms that you're expecting, like we've talked about organisational culture, and how people, learn what's expected and what are the norms of behaviour. So that's sort of by maybe having a buddy who can take you around and say, well, this is what we do here, this is how we do this over here, these are these people. So there are various people that are going to be involved at these different stages. I'm supposed to pick my car up now. I'm going to take it to Toyota in the morning at 9 a.m. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Oh, well. That's a bit down. See, sounds like it might just pass. There we go. Different people involved at different stages of the process. So like a lot of the preliminary stuff will be HR, administration. Yeah. And then on the day one, it's usually your first line manager, the person who's directly managing. Yeah. But you could also nominate a buddy from that day one, so that you've got an induction buddy, somebody you can ask questions to, so you don't feel like you're annoying somebody by asking them all these dumb questions. So get them to show you around, and you can follow that person around for the day. So we don't want information overload. We want to know things like what are the job description, what's the performance expectations, what are the hours of work, what are the breaks, we need to take breaks, how do you get paid, these are all the fundamental things that are quite important. Special rules that might apply, so any disciplinary stuff probably needs to be passed on that first day as well, just so that they don't inadvertently make a mistake in that first week that potentially they hadn't been told about, and definitely the health and safety needs to usually come in that first day as well, depending on the job and the type of work that they're doing. But if it involves plant and equipment and machinery and tools, then obviously that's a big part of the induction. And some organisations will have a separate health and safety induction. Like there's the HR induction, and then there's the health and safety induction that happens separately because it is such a significant part of the job. So that's first day. And it is quite helpful usually to have a kind of a checklist. So if you're in HR in an organisation, or you're managing a small business, whatever you're doing, it's useful to have some kind of a checklist or tool that you can go through. And it's not like, a lot of people give HR a bad name because they're all about ticking boxes. It's not, yes, it is ticking boxes with a checklist, but it's also a reminder about what is the important stuff I need to cover. And who's responsible for doing it, and when is it being signed off. So HR should organise some things. The first line manager should tick off some things. Maybe the induction buddy has got some responsibilities. Who knows? It just is a way of reminding everybody of these are the things that are important and have we covered them. So it's actually supposed to be a helpful tool. And the other thing I forgot to mention before, the preparation before the employee joins. One of the crucial ones is making sure that the person has a computer, a workstation, a login to the system. Nothing worse than showing up for your first day and you've got nowhere to sit and you've got no computer to get into, and your work's all based on the computer. So that's kind of important stuff as well.
Definitely, because that's not really a good image, is that?
It's not, but it happens a lot.
I'd say it would.
Because it takes. managers have to think ahead.
Yeah,
What is this person going to need?
yeah, exactly.
And they're so busy living and running around in the moment, crazy,
Yeah.
you know, that they fail to think ahead. So that's where the checklist can be helpful. Have
Yeah.
you organised a computer and a desk
Yeah,
and a computer login and access to this and access to that?
yeah,
So, you know, the larger the organisations get, the sort of more bureaucratic the process can be,
Yeah,
but there's
yeah.
also, you know,
There's a
like,
reason.
there's a reason, you know, like getting to be part of, like, having, there's a whole separate IT in, like, requirement checklist
Yeah,
just for the IT side of things. Do they need access to this? Do they need access to that? Do
Yeah.
they need access to this? You know, we've got so many programs here that we're running that's
yeah,
about
yeah,
whether or not, you know, so IT need to actually know in advance
yeah,
what to set up.
yeah. Because then everyone's going to step over everyone's foot, and it's just, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
bit of stress.
Yep. So there's beforehand, the first day, and then there's an ongoing process. So the ongoing process is usually the responsibility of the line manager to make sure it happens, team leader, whoever that is, supervisor. And it, you know, it can be quite informal. It doesn't have to be really formal. It can
Yeah.
just be, okay, and then today I'm going to show you this, and tomorrow I'm going to show you that. You
Yeah.
know, but just about introducing, you know, the job to the person, making sure they understand, making sure they know where to go to for help if they need it. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Check understanding, assess progress, how well are they settling in, provide feedback. And new employee, mentor, boss, evaluate success of the induction program. That's sort of a final phase, is evaluating that induction process and actually seeing whether or not it was useful.
Yeah.
You've said the formal process you went through was quite useful for you.
Mm.
Did they ask you for feedback on that process at that time?
I
I
don't
don't
think
think so, yeah. They may have asked your manager for feedback on it, you know.
Yeah.
Or they can collect information. A lot of organisations will collect information at that final stage.
so. Yeah.
Was your induction complete? Did you feel like it assisted you in integrating into the organisation? Could be a questionnaire, it could be an interview.
Yeah.
We also want to make sure that it's probably done by somebody who, maybe somebody a little bit more objective, like,
Yeah.
rather than the line manager. Because if the individual has had an issue with the line manager in the first phase of the induction, then they're not going to say as such to that line manager, especially if they're on a trial period. So maybe get HR to ask, you know, was there anything that could have been improved about that process?
Yeah.
Because HR basically is with the other parts of human resource management are there to establish the policy and the procedure. This is what we do and why we do it.
Yeah.
And then they're there to assist and facilitate line managers to implement those policies and procedures. So there is a team effort that goes on there. But HR will need feedback to know whether or not they need to change their aspects of the induction process. Any questions?
Was that lightning? Oh no, it's just
So here is the HMV employee induction training video, which is on video. Pardon?
I can hear it from the laptop.
Ah, sorry.
Induction. Is there any word more thrilling to the human soul? Hello, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such induction films as Landmines, Your Road to Riches, .coms, The Only Way Is Up, and Nuclear Power, Safe and Clean. Congratulations and welcome. Today, I'm here to help you get started in the wonderful world of entertainment we call HMV. We'll cover what it means to be part of this team, what HMV is all about, the past, present, and future of HMV, and so much more. So, enough of my yakking. Join me, won't you, and dip your collective toes in the cool water we call HMV. Come in. The metaphorical water is just fine.
Now then, tell me, what are the core values of HMV?
Closer to our customers.
It's gonna be okay.
Closer to HMV. Closer to each other. Alive. We like to feel alive. Switched on. And make things happen.
So you can see that they've put quite a lot of effort into their induction video. Obviously, they've got the resources to do that, but they are trying to make their employee induction entertaining, something that their staff are going to engage with. You know, they're working in that industry, and so the staff will engage with it in that industry.
Yeah.
So again, that's sort of an example of the kind of online type induction program. So you don't necessarily have to have a line manager repeating the same stuff. Induction, how it happens, it will depend on whether it's the size of the organisation. If it's a small organisation or a large one. If you've got a small organisation, you're just inducting one person at a time. An online induction makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you're introducing a big group of people to the organisation all at one time, then you can afford to have a presenter or somebody who does a more sort of training type approach, a group training approach. There's another video I was going to show you if I can find it, which is probably a little bit less dramatic. It might just take me a minute to find where I put it. change my display settings yet again. Should be able to duplicate. Duplicate. There we go. Okay, so this is a little bit about human resource management at Rebel Sport. It's a little bit dated, but you'll spot the dated part.
With its upbeat advertising aimed at a wide cross-section of the community, chances are if you have an interest in some kind of sporting activity, you'll know about Rebel Sport. The concept involves large, well-laid-out retail stores selling an extensive range of sporting products with a guaranteed competitive price. A publicly owned company listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, Rebel has 35 stores across Australia and 10 in New Zealand. In New Zealand, the stores are franchised. In other words, the licence to operate the stores has been sold to another organisation. In Australia, Rebel Sport employs more than 1,700 people, and the number is on the increase because of the new stores opening each year. This means finding new staff and training new and existing staff is an ongoing challenge for Rebel Sport's HR team, headed by Ian Seagale.
I suppose from my point of view, I see it very simplistically, and that is basically my role and the role of my department is to gain, to train and to maintain a workforce.
Finding, training and maintaining high-quality retail staff is becoming even more important with the challenge that traditional shop-based retailers like Rebel Sport are facing from businesses using electronic marketing. The new e-commerce operations have a number of advantages. They don't need expensive shop fronts. There's no need to hold a lot of stock. They don't have to employ as many people. And through the World Wide Web, they have exposure to a global market. Rebel is also exploring e-commerce, but their management believes that while many people will turn to the web for information about products, it's likely that they will be making the actual purchase in a physical store where they can see and touch the items they're thinking of buying and talk to real people. And it's the finding, selection and training of these people at Rebel that is the focus of this program. When a Rebel store needs new employees, positions are advertised complete with a detailed description of the job. However, a lot of people seeking work make a direct approach and hand in their resume to the local store, whether a job is advertised or not. These resumes are passed on to the Rebel State Support Office. It's also possible with Rebel to apply for a job online. Visit their website and take a look. The first screening of applicants is at the State Support Office, where a selection is made by reviewing resumes held on file.
We're looking for someone who is very passionate about selling, has a keen interest in sports, would be preferred but certainly not essential. Then looking for someone who really has a nice friendly personality with a good smile, so that if they're on the floor they enjoy being with people.
Likely candidates are notified.
Okay, so what were the selection, those were the selection criteria he's talking about,
Yeah.
right? What were the criteria?
So, someone that, what was the first one? The second one was enjoy sports, maybe.
Yeah.
The third one was a good smile. The first one was,
I can't remember, it was a personable or
something to do with sales, like a good
sales, yeah.
personality.
Yeah. So they need to be basically, have good interpersonal communication skills and,
Yeah.
and an interest in sports and things. So those are the criteria that kind of outline that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Then this is a selection.
And once a month, a series of group interviews is arranged. Here, up to 25 people are interviewed at the one time by a panel of rebel management.
It is a 2-hour process, but the 2-hour process not only gives us information about the candidates, it allows us to see them at their natural state. So they come in, they start to feel more relaxed because then the focus isn't totally on them, it's on the whole group. They get to see who the competition is, who else is applying and how well do they fit in with the group that's already applying. And we give them exercises to do which really relaxes them and makes them feel quite comfortable. So we see them in their natural state and how well they interact with other people. And that's the main thing we're looking for.
The idea of interviewing a group of applicants together is relatively new and has been adopted by a number of large organisations like Rebel and AAPT. Other advantages for Rebel are that this way, up to 80 to 100 people can be interviewed in one day. Each of them has been appraised not only by the 4 people from the Rebel management team, but by their fellow interviewees as well. And interestingly, if the management team says no, but the candidate team says yes, the person is given another opportunity. The reason for this is that Rebel managers figure that if a group of people who represent the general public consider that this person would be good to deal with in the store, then he or she is certainly worth a second chance. And what can we learn about the successful candidates? Well, for a sales job at Rebel, a friendly, outgoing personality is going to be very important, but it can also be about presentation and homework.
Their personal presentation and grooming does count as well. I think people should come presented for an interview in a way that they are looking professional for working on the shop floor. But the other thing that they should be doing is really preparing for their interview by doing research on the organisation, looking at the internet, checking out the company, finding out how many stores, finding out the opportunities, maybe talking to some of the staff on the shop floor about what it's like to work within that business.
The next step in the process is back at the store, where the manager does do a one-to-one interview with the recommended candidate. If the store manager decides that this is the right person for the job, references are checked and the appointment is made.
Got some good news for you, I hope. We'd like to offer you a position in our bike shop. Yes, fantastic, fantastic. Now we're starting probably in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll have
The first day on the job at Rebel involves filling in all the necessary paperwork, things like tax forms and bank details, and the first contact with Rebel's training technology.
Look at that
The
technology
Rebel
go.
Structure Interactive Introduction Program. This program includes a general introduction with messages from 3 senior Rebel executives.
We're proud of the quality and range of goods we sell. We're proud of our name for giving customers comfort.
Details of the company's approach to customer service.
Is to show that you really want to meet the customer's needs.
An explanation of general policies and procedures.
We gladly refund or exchange undamaged goods, providing a receipt or proof of purchase is shown.
A section on loss prevention.
How big is that loss for Rebel? Well,
And another detailing the mystery shopper program, where people acting as shoppers assess the performance of retail staff. Quiz questions at the end of sections test the knowledge gained, and at the end of the session, the results are recorded. Also part of the initial training is a day spent at the State Training Centre learning selling skills, and another day focused on loss prevention. In other words, learning to combat shop stealing. On the shop floor, a new employee is assigned a sponsor for 3 months. It's a sort of buddy system where the sponsor shows the new person how to do a variety of basic operations.
mentoring means somebody that can actually take responsibility of a new staff member by showing them the ropes, and certainly someone that they can feel comfortable speaking to and ask any questions, and that they don't feel that they've been shoved in the corner, that they're an important part of our business.
A record of procedures learnt by the new employee is kept, and this becomes part of the staff member's personal Rebel file. Ongoing staff training is arranged by the store's training coordinator, and for a new recruit, this will involve more interactive learning using a range of computer-based training programs.
Vouchers, EPTOS and labour.
Special product training sessions are also organised away from the store. Sometimes these are out-of-hours events, like this one at the Collingwood Football Club, where various suppliers are explaining the finer points of their football footwear. Staff are encouraged to attend, but it's not compulsory. Here, Rebel is making use of the various suppliers to help train and educate sales staff about the new season's products they're selling.
Basically, the reason why we love doing training with staff is if you look at all the influences on consumers and why they purchase shoes, one of the powerful opinion leaders that can help change that opinion are staff on the store. In fact, they're probably the biggest. You think if you go into store, staff will decide which shoe you should go in. So it's important that the staff, one, are confident in the product, and two, can actually relay that to consumers so that they understand why they need to buy this shoe or that shoe. So hence why I'm here to relay that information to staff. Yeah.
And whether it's learning about football boots, tennis rackets or cross-training shoes, it's not just new recruits who need the training. All of the Rebel staff need to know about new product developments and new sports trends so that they can hone their selling skills.
So comfort for one. How else?
Okay. So as you can see from that video, we did get to see the example of the sort of online induction program that some organisations have, and a lot will have that now.
Yeah.
It was probably quite new then.
Yeah, I'd say. It sounded like it.
It sounded like it, yeah, pretty advanced old rugby sport, but So they're obviously using a combination of methods, and then they've got the group training sessions as well. So multiple methods for induction, essentially, to help get the information that they need across.
Yeah.
The good thing with the online stuff is you can do the quizzes, so you can actually verify that that person has been through that learning.
Yeah.
So they can't, the one thing with employees is, they can't say, oh, you never told me that, or I never knew that. If you've actually got a quiz there that has proven that you've actually done that module.
Yeah.
Also, ignorance doesn't actually let you off the hook anyway. So, if you've signed something to say that you'll agree to follow the organisation's policies and procedures, then that means the onus is on you to make sure you know what the organisation's policies and procedures actually are. So, anyway, any questions about that or comments about that video?
No, not really. It seemed quite thorough.
Yeah.
And just by watching it, it seemed like they kind of value their staff and the process that they go through to get into the organisation.
And that does lead us into next week's topic, which is training and development. So, induction at next week performance management. Do we do training and development? Should we do? Some point, yes, we do. Leveraging, there's remuneration and reward, there's talent management later on. And then there's, so we must come into talent management. But it's definitely induction is a sort of stepping stone into ongoing training and development programs for the organisation. So this week you've got reading 6.1, 6.2. another course forum post, which I don't think I've put up yet, but I'll put up tomorrow, and just start reading the material for performance management for next week.
Okay.
Okay, and keep up the good work.
So we've still got a few of these to go. We've probably got an assessment for
I think your assessment, there will be an assignment, I think, because your course forum post is worth like 30% for this one.
Oh yeah.
You've only got 2 assessments.
Oh yeah.
One I give you out in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
we've
then
got some more of these classes in there.
yeah, and then the other one's supposed to roll towards the end. So
Oh, sounds good.
yeah, you're good. You've probably got enough to work on with all your other papers anyway.
Yeah, I do.
Very good. Okie dokie.
So you got my assessment, all right?
I did indeed. Thank you.